Hey everyone. So with John Carlson re-signing in Washington and off the market, all the talk is around the NHL is John Tavares, John Tavares, John Tavares, and Tavares is going through his meetings with teams now. They're all giving him pitches that for to try and get him to join their team, and he can't sign anywhere until July 1 unless he goes back to the Islanders. Then he can sign at any time, but I expect a decision closer to July 1 rather than tomorrow from Tavares. Think this is going to be a little bit of a process, and I think no matter where he goes, he probably doesn't sign until July 1. So while everyone's still talking about him, there were actually two pretty major signings today that took place. Um, uh, but no, they've kind of flown under the radar with all the draft talk and the Tavares talk. But Pittsburgh re-signed Bryan Rust, who was a restricted free agent. Um, and they signed him to a 4-year deal at 3.5 million. Now Rust is 26 years old, right winger for the Penguins, and this is a solid deal for the Pens and a pretty good cap number too for a team that has quite a few stars on it. Cap is really important for a team like Pittsburgh, and to get him at 3.5 million is a solid job. Rust he's a third line winger. He's a decent offensive player, but he's not gonna wow you. It's not like he's a 30 goal scorer or anything. Where Rust makes his money is in the playoffs. He is a very, very good playoff performer, and those are important to have when you're a perennial playoff team the way Pittsburgh is. So Rust is obviously someone that they wanted to have back, and to get him for 4 more years is a good solid term for him and the team, and it's a pretty good cap hit. So I like this move a lot by Pittsburgh, and even he can definitely be a 20 goal scorer in the NHL on a yearly basis without a doubt. But he's definitely more of a third line, maybe move up to second in an injury situation kind of player. That's why you're not seeing him getting 5 million or something like that. He makes his money in the postseason where he just seems to play on a whole nother level and score really, really big goals. And the other player to sign today is JT Miller in Tampa Bay. Miller, 25-year-old, he mostly plays on the left wing. He can play center, but he spends more of his time as a winger. Since moving to Tampa Bay, he's spent most of his time playing on the top line on the left side with Stamkos in the middle and Kucherov on the right. Miller got a much bigger contract. He got a 5-year deal worth $5.25 million per year. And this deal could work out extremely well for Tampa Bay, or this could be a bit of a risk. Now, JT Miller is only 25, so he certainly has a long career ahead of him, and I have no problem with the 5-year term. There's nothing wrong there. The question is JT Miller going to be worth $5.25 million a year on a yearly basis? And that's a little tough to answer. He was obviously a really strong prospect when he came into the league. He was thought to be a really, really good young forward with the Rangers. Then he came over in the deadline blockbuster along with Ryan McDonough to Tampa Bay that saw Tampa Bay go all in for the Stanley Cup this past season that they didn't win. But Miller had a really rough season last year in New York. Now, the Rangers as a whole had a really rough season, and that's not necessarily his fault. He also wasn't that great the year before, and Miller has been known to kind of disappear for stretches and be very inconsistent. That's really not someone you want on your top line and someone that you want to be paying $5+ million to. However, Miller's only 25, and he has shown stretches where he can be a very, very good player, somebody who can be physical, score a lot of goals, rack up points, play on the power play, and really be a great all-around top six forward. That is worth $5.25 million per year, obviously. So the question with Miller is, can he put it all together and play that well on a consistent basis. Because in New York, he had a tendency to disappear at times a little bit. He also was playing on an offensively challenged New York Rangers team, and last year a downright bad New York Rangers team. So it's kind of hard to hold that against him because it could have been more of a team issue than a JT Miller issue. In his, in his defense, once he moved to Tampa Bay and got traded to the Lightning, he was fantastic for the Lightning the second part, the later part of last season and then through the playoffs. He played really, really well once he was in a Lightning uniform. So I have high hopes for Miller. I think this is a good contract because I think he's going to live up to it. I think not being out of New York, playing on a really good team like the Lightning, playing with great players like Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, Victor Hedman, Tyler Johnson. The list goes on in Tampa Bay as far as the great players he's going to be playing with. I think this is a great situation for him to thrive and really become a high-end NHL forward. He's going to easily be a top 6 forward, I think, and probably be a 25-goal, 50-plus points every year kind of player. And if you can get that out of JT Miller, he is absolutely worth the $5.25 million. This will end up being a really good contract for Tampa Bay. And you've got yourself a really solid top 6 winger who can also play center if injuries become a problem or he needs to. And he brings a little bit of a physical edge that you don't always get from goal scorers this day and age in the NHL. He's certainly not Wayne Simmons or Tom Wilson type, but he's willing to hit. He finds a way to get into a fight or two every year, and he certainly goes to the net and is willing to rough things up a little bit. So I think this is a good deal. I think the Bryan Rust deal is a good deal. And these are two pretty important contracts that are kind of flying under the radar with all the John Tavares talk going on. So let me know what you guys think of the deals down below in the comments. I think that they're both solid for player and team alike, and both good jobs by the Lightning and Penguins. So like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media, check out offthewallhockey.com. Links for those are all in the description. Keep this channel growing. We're over 200 subscribers now. Let's keep that number going up. The next milestone is 500, so let's get moving to get there. I love watching this channel grow. It really makes this all worth it. And thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, each and every one of you. And I'll talk to you guys soon.